Hello friends, we'll be discussing the concept of stages of production now. Now, law of variable proportion, those assumptions that we have discussed about, and now we'll be discussing the three stages that we have to discuss, or rather, those three stages that we have to read about, learn about, and understand about how exactly the various changes in the input factor with variable and constants being groupism, or rather groupified here, using those variables and constant factors, what is the change in the output that comes with three different stages is something that we're going to understand. So let's start with the theoretical part of it first. First, total product first increases at an increasing rate and then at a decreasing rate, and this continues till the end of this stage. The first stage that we're talking about is whereby total product, so let's say total product is TP, this keeps on increasing. Now this is the origin of it. It keeps on increasing at an increasing rate here and then at a decreasing rate. Now if this thing was covered in months, here the next decrease or rather the next increase from this point will be in certain years, and this continues till the end of this stage. So wherever the end of this stage, let's assume this is the end of this stage. Now this whole journey of increasing demand and diminishing utility, or probably the utility satisfaction, this period was covered in months. This period will be covered in years. Why? Is because this is growing at an increasing rate. This whole part will be growing at an increasing rate here. However, this whole part will be growing at a decreasing rate. Decreasing rate means at a slower rate. Basically, this is the first stage. Average product is continuously increasing. However, the average of all this product will be continuously increasing, because till now at the end of this stage it is not decreasing, it is increasing. The first increase was due to the increasing period, or rather the increasing rate, it was at a faster rate, and the second stage was due to the slower rate, but still it is increasing. Hence the average product will be still increasing here. The next part refers to marginal productivity first increases, becomes maximum, and then starts falling. Now let's take a graph here. Basically, this is the origin. Now if this the marginal productivity, this keeps on increasing, it becomes maximum, because marginal productivity is what you have assumed, or rather you have mentioned that there is no increase in the technological state, the advancement will never happen. Hence, by what time, or rather you will have, or rather you will be at a certain point whereby you'll understand, okay, this is not giving me any satisfaction. Hence you will lose interest in it, and hence the marginal productivity will keep going down from that stage. Now at this stage, supposingly you have realized, okay, this marginal productivity is going to increase only until here, and then it will start decreasing from here. That's the point of marginal productivity, when the assumption states that, okay, all the combinations have been done, you have attained the maximum satisfaction that you could ever using all these combinations, and from there the marginal productivity of that product will keep on declining. For best examples, you need to understand your new car. The moment you have a new car, you keep taking extra care of it, you start taking a lot of it, whereby basically if you have to speak about, remember the time when you bought a new cycle for yourself, when you bought a new bicycle for yourself, or probably when you bought your first bike. Now people who bought their first bike, for the first few years they must have cared for the bike very well, they must have cleaned it by themselves, they must have taken that bike for service regularly. Now very often when you get used to the bike, or probably when you get busy with the work, you ignore running, or rather you ignore taking care of the bike. Why exactly is that? That is again an example of marginal productivity. You have reached your maximum satisfaction with that bike, it was your dream, you achieved it. This is with most of the people, it is not saying that it is with every other people that we face, or that we understand, or that we figure out in our daily life, but majority of the people feel the same thing. Why? Is because you have attained, it's a materialistic thing. Now every materialistic thing has a certain marginal productivity. You reach that top, then you are going down from there. There is no reaching up unless and until you are an enthusiast of that specific bike, unless and until you are an enthusiast of that specific bike. So you need to understand with all these details what exactly you need to do and how exactly you need to function here. Now when we are talking about all these details, you need to just figure out one more thing. When, or rather Here in the assumptions that we're talking about, you know that this line came into the picture whereby because we have understood there is no technological advancement, hence the product is going to remain the same. Hence, this line comes into the picture. Now, the next part states, but the marginal product remains higher than the average product. That is, marginal productivity is greater than the average productivity. However, the marginal productivity of that specific product will be always greater than the average product or other average productivity of that specific product, because it is not a regular product here. This is something very enthusiastic that you look after, and hence the marginal productivity is on the higher side. Now, the stage 1 ends where average product reaches its highest point. So here the efficiency of variable factor labor is maximum. Now, when do you call the stage 1 being completely closed? When the average product reaches its maximum efficiency. That means the factors are completely exhausted. Labor is completely exhausted. That is when you understand, okay, average productivity is the maximum or it is at its peak, and hence there is no looking back. It is going to go down from here. There are two important reasons for increasing returns. First is indivisibility and the second is specialization. Now, why there is an increasing return here, or rather when we're talking about the increasing, if you remember the first stage that we spoke about, or rather this stage where we understood that it is going to increase at a faster rate when it start, then it is going to reach a point and then it is going to increase again but at a slower rate. This increasing rate, or rather this increase in the intentionality, or rather we can talk about the productivity, is because of two things. One is the indivisibility. You cannot divide the product here, you cannot sever the product here. And next is the specialization. That product is, or rather is of certain specialization, and hence it is being procured in the market by consumers. That's the reason the demand for that product is increasing. Hence, this is what you need to understand. Now, the next stage refers to total product continues to increase at a diminishing rate until it reaches maximum point at the end of this stage. Now, the second product that we're talking about, or rather the second stage, is where the total product continues to increase at a diminishing rate until it reaches its maximum point. If you are taking the total product here, so this is my origin, okay, here the total product keeps on increasing. This is the total productivity. It will keep on increasing at diminishing rate. These are the stages. So basically it will keep on increasing at diminishing rate here until it reaches the end of the stage. So for example, if this is the end of this stage, until it reaches here, if it increases at a faster rate here, then it slows down a little bit, then it slows down a little bit, then it slows down, and it will completely slow down here. It doesn't mean that it is not increasing. It is increasing for sure, but the rate is at a diminishing rate here. Now, both average productivity and marginal productivity diminish but remain positive. Here, the average productivity and marginal productivity at this stage, it will be completely diminished, but they are never negative, because negative will go below this. Negative will go below this, hence they are not going down. Here we are saying that it is positive because it is increasing. At the end of this stage, marginal productivity becomes zero. So at this stage, the marginal productivity completely goes down and hence it becomes zero here. That's the maximum point, and hence from here it will be completely a steep downflow, and hence it will reach zero. I'm not saying it will go negative, it will reach to its maximum peak, and hence the utilization of that specific product is zero here. Total productivity is maximum when marginal productivity is zero. So if you say, or if you have to figure out what is the total productivity, or rather when is the total productivity maximum, you can say that when the marginal productivity of that specific stage is zero, that is when you can decide, okay, your total productivity is now at the maximum peak, or rather it's at its peak. Average productivity shows a steady decline throughout this stage. Now, when marginal productivity is going down, average productivity from this level will keep on declining. So, the moment this is going up, it will keep on declining from here. Now, this is because the marginal productivity is going on zero. Since both AP and MP declines, that is average productivity and marginal productivity keeps on declining, this stage is known as the stage of diminishing return. Hence, after the first stage, when we're talking about the second stage will be the stage of diminishing returns here. Now, The main cause of application of the law of diminishing return is the scarcity of fixed factors or the other factors of production. Now, why diminishing returns? Why, or rather, what is the cause of this application of diminishing returns? Is because scarcity of the resources, or rather, scarcity of the fixed factors and the other factors of production. So, if at all the factors of production that are there in this process, if there is scarcity of that, or rather the fixed factors, because you know that you have only this much of quantity, you cannot include more quantity in this. Hence, you have restricted fixed factors. The name fixed itself can be self-explanatory here. Whereas the other factors that are variable, you cannot put more of those variable factors to replace those fixed factors. Hence, their scarcity will also cause a steady decline in the average productivity and the marginal productivity here. Now, the third stage, total product will start declining. Now, when the third stage comes into the picture, average productivity and marginal productivity has already declined. Now, it's the turn of total productivity that will keep on declining here. The marginal productivity of variable factors will become negative. Now, as we have discussed earlier, let's take this thing again. It goes up, it goes down here. Now, this is the marginal productivity and the average productivity that is going down. This is the total productivity that it has reached here. Now, here, when the third stage comes, this marginal productivity will keep on going onto the negative side. Until the second stage, it was only positive. Now, in the third stage, when the product reaches its third stage, it will go into the negative side here, whereas the average product will remain greater than 0. However, this average product that we are talking about, it will be greater than 0. However, it hasn't gone below negative. In the earlier stage, marginal productivity didn't go below 0, it was only above 0. But in the third stage, marginal productivity is going below 0, that is, it is going into negative, whereas average productivity is staying above 0, that is still in the positive side. Now, the phenomenon of negative return emerges as a result of application of excessive units of variable factors. Now, why this negative factor comes into the picture? Because we have fixed resources which have been already consumed. Now, we are supposed to utilize all the variable resources which are again adding to the cost of the product, and the more of those variable products you are getting utilized, the negativity of the marginal product will keep on increasing here in relation to the fixed factors, with the result of TP, or other total productivity starts declining. Now, because of the same thing, the total productivity of that product will keep on declining. Why? Is because you have already exhausted on your fixed factors. Now, you're overutilizing your variable factors just to replace whatever fixed factors couldn't do here. Hence, you will be soon realizing that the total productivity of that product will keep on declining because marginal productivity is already into negative. Average productivity is reaching its zero or rather zeroized limit, and hence because of both these things going down, one into negative, one on the verge of getting negative, total productivity will start declining here, or it will start diminishing, and that's when the law of diminishing return comes into the picture. Now, as we have discussed, or as we have seen that how the TP, or rather the total productivity of a concept, goes on diminishing once the stage 3 comes into the picture. Now that we have realized that in the stage 3, that is the last stage, marginal productivity goes below negative and average productivity is about to reach the zeroized limit, total productivity of any product starts declining, and that's when you understand that you have reached stage 3, and that is the last stage of law of variable proportion. So this is how you discuss the 3 stages of law of variable proportion whenever you have to explain it to someone else. So make sure this is the same thing that is followed here. And that's it all for the video. Thank you.